you're bidding against guys too. You're not only selling the journey, now there's a financial component. And so we tell them we have NIL. We have good NIL. We have good revenue sharing money. But I don't want to talk about that right now. Let's talk about fit. Let's talk about getting better. And if all those fit, now let's sit down and see how much NIL that will require for you to be here.
Yeah.
But if they talk money to start, they're not about the journey. And so that's why I think we've had such good programs. We get kids that are about the journey, and then we take care of them financially.
Sure.
We don't start off with financial. We don't go in there and say, here's the amount of money we have, we want you. We want a kid that's invested in this program like we're invested in them, and now we're going to try to make it financially rewarding for them to be here.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Report. Today, I got someone who is doing big things in the college basketball space, and actually recently just took San Diego State men's basketball to the national championship game back in 2023. He's appeared in multiple Sweet 16s, and even coached the Fab Five out there in University of Michigan. I got Coach Brian Dutcher. Coach Brian Dutcher, welcome to the show, my man.
Rich, thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here.
Yeah, man. I've been a big fan of you and the program. I've been a long time San Diego State college basketball fan since probably like 2010, 2011 days with Kawhi Leonard. So for me, having you here, having a conversation with you is very cool. So thank you.
My pleasure, and let's talk some Aztec hoops.
Oh man, I can't wait. So much to cover here. But first things first, we know about 3 years ago, college basketball switched to the NIL, name, image, likeness. I know there's some controversy around it. What exactly is name, image, and likeness? What does this mean?
Well, name, image, and likeness was a polite way of saying we're going to have pay for play. And we would raise money. Universities would raise money for their athletic programs, and they would pay the athletes, supposedly on their name, image, and likeness, a value to that. And the dollar figures got crazy. They're trying to rein it in now. The judge gavelled a ruling earlier this summer that put it to more revenue sharing and trying to cap it a little bit more. But before it was capped, it was a wild, wild west. There were people spending a lot of money on their rosters in order to put a good team together, not only in basketball, but in football and baseball. Whoever could raise the money in college to pay their athletes, that money basically bought a team.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think this move is keeping a lot of players that would go to the pros, maybe NFL, NBA, even MLB? Are you seeing a trend to where now a lot of college players that have the opportunity to go to the pros might elect to stay an extra year or two in the college ball because they're going to get paid?
Yeah, you're seeing it in the draft. Less college basketball players are putting their name into the early entry draft, and there aren't that many spots available anyway, but guys would put their names in and try to make a living at basketball, and now those numbers have dropped because they're making a living at basketball playing in college. And I'm sure it's the same for football. So, yes, the athletes are staying longer because they're finally realizing some financial gain from staying in college.
So you mentioned that, different programs within, let's say San Diego State, for example, you got, men's baseball, men's football, basketball, even tennis and golf. Are all these other sports, even the secondary ones like tennis and golf, are they participating in this rev share?
Yeah, everybody can. Women's basketball, the women's sports also. And it's like if you have a guy that used to play golf at San Diego State, Shoffley, or any of these guys, and they want to give back to the golf program in order to pay some of these players, they can do it. And so everybody's out there. It's like any investment business. You're out in search of a whale that will help sponsor your program. And so that's how it was in NIL. Now with revenue sharing, the Power 4 or 5 conferences, they actually have revenue to share. They have $60, $70 million TV deals. And so now it's not as much for them to raise money. They have money coming in already that they'll just now put toward those programs. Whereas at San Diego State, as we transition to the Pac-12, I still have to go out there and raise money for our men's basketball program. And I do it every day, and I do it with excitement and enthusiasm because without it, we don't exist. So it's my commitment to the program. And like we talked earlier, Rich, and like I said, people don't like paying athletes in college. A lot of people don't embrace it. But I always say if they change the rules and regulations in the business you own,
yes,
are you going to quit and sell your business?
No.
Or are you going to adapt? And so we're adapting. I don't like everything about it, but my job is to keep San Diego State relevant on a national stage. And part of that is raising money to pay these players. And they do it everywhere. They do it in the Ivy League. They're doing it at Harvard. They're doing it at Yale. They're doing it at Notre Dame. They're doing it at Duke. And so you can run from it or you can embrace it. And I embrace it, and I'm trying to keep us high at a national level.
Yeah, I love that you said that. You got to adapt, otherwise you're going to get washed out of the industry. It's the same thing with real estate investing and business. A lot of the hotels that we acquire are from a lot of mom and pop sellers that didn't adapt to technology. They did not adapt to AI, and now their hotels are underperforming. Gives us a massive opportunity to come and pick up their hotels at a discount, implement the AI, implement the tech, add a lot of value. Now, to your point, you're adapting to this new era. Question for you: if the women's tennis wants to go raise money for their players, can they take that money that they raise and distribute it amongst their players to recruit?
Yes. And that was more of the old model, the true NIL model. Now that it's revenue sharing, there's still NIL opportunities, but not for as much money. And so now every university, let's say, will start, I think the figure is like 21 million. And so if you're in a Power 4 or 5 conference, 15 million is going to go to football. That's what drives the bus in college athletics, football.
Now, even at San Diego State, because you could argue you guys are the power sport over football at San Diego State.
You could argue that to a degree.
And even Duke.
Although San Diego State's had tremendous success in football.
Sure.
And they're fighting to get back to that level. But football's going to rule the day because that's where all the money for TV goes.
How about
football.
a program like Duke, for example, where basketball is clear-cut the most popular sport there? Do you think a program like Duke would allocate more towards basketball versus football?
Yeah, they might give 13 to football and 6 to men's basketball. And so it's capped, but there's still NIL opportunities.
Yeah.
So, like, if you get a shoe deal, like if you're a Cooper Flag at
Yes.
Duke and he gets a Nike deal, that's a true NIL deal. They can pay him whatever they want to pay him. Nike can. But there aren't that many players out there that command that kind of revenue outside of revenue sharing.
Yeah.
And so now NIL, instead of letting the boosters go crazy and just pay players whatever they want, there's a third-party clearinghouse. So all these true NIL deals where you're getting paid on your name, image, and likeness have to go through a clearinghouse. And then they set a value. But I think we all know this is the U.S., and the value is whatever people are willing to pay. So like everything else, that'll probably be fought in the courts too.
For sure. So regarding the brand deals, I know, a lot of the NBA players, they make more off the court with brand deals versus they do with the salary. I know LeBron James is a good example of that. So prior to 3 years ago, when you guys switched to the NIL method of doing things, could players get a shoe deal and sponsor and brand deals?
Not before NIL, no. They had no ability to make money outside of their scholarship, which was tuition fees, room board, and so that was what they got. And there were court cases fought long ago. O'Bannon at UCLA always fought, like the video games that use their name, image, and likeness. They should be entitled to some of that revenue. And they won some of those cases. And then that led to now these athletes should be able to make money. They're generating revenue. Back in the Fab Five days, the Fab Five generated money to Michigan, and yet they didn't receive anything other than a scholarship to go to college. And so that was a lot of money, obviously, to go to college. That was a great privilege. But I think everyone realized they were worth more than that. The money they were generating, they should be entitled to some of that money. And that's what led to name, image, and likeness, where the players are actually the ones that generate income should receive some of that back.
I personally think it's kind of cool. I think with the age that we're in with social media, it's free to market yourself. So for some of these college basketball players, maybe coming up through middle school, high school, if they start growing their personal brands and they start growing some sort of audience, I'm sure when they get to the college level, it's going to impact the dollars they can make, especially off the court with the brand deals, right?
Yeah, you're looking at some of these athletes that get 1 million followers. They're worth the money they're getting paid.
Yes.
Anything they post is money to those items that they're representing. And so if you build your followers, you're actually worth that to a company. The thing they're trying to avoid is have people say you're worth this amount of money when they're really not. They're just saying we're paying you to be a player outside of the revenue sharing. And that's why it's trying to be regulated a little better. If you truly generate income and you prove your worth, then you can make that money. But if you're just getting paid because some booster thinks you're a really good basketball player, then that's a whole nother story.
I'm curious if you're recruiting two players, and obviously we know no two players are the same, but let's just say two players are apples to apples in terms of skill level, same position. One of them has a large audience on social media, a lot of eyeballs. The other one doesn't. Would you guys go the direction of the player with more eyeballs on social media?
I think we go the player that we thought was the best fit for our program.
Okay.
And you have to realize a lot of coaches are quitting the business now because they don't like this environment.
Really?
They don't like
They're just resonating?
they don't like the pay-for-play era. They don't like paying college athletes. And what I say is, I don't think the kids have changed. They want to be coached. They want to be disciplined. They want to be taught. They want to be grown as young men. And so even though they're getting money now, to me, they haven't changed as people. They're young men looking for mentorship, looking to improve themselves, both on the court and off the court. And I take pride in doing that, helping them do that. If I felt they were acting entitled and I make all this money, I'm not going to listen to you, then I would have a hard time doing it.
For sure.
But the kids I'm coaching, it hasn't changed them. And to a large degree, where programs are losing their whole rosters to the transfer portal, and that you used to have to sit a year when you transferred. Now it's free agency. What college basketball was and college sports up until this year, it was no salary cap and unlimited free agency. No pro franchise or pro industry could survive that. And yet we're trying to survive that in college athletics. Now we're getting some sanity with a cap, but still, we have guys that could have left us this year for more money that came back
because of the cap?
No, because they believe in the journey they're on. They believe the route to the NBA or professional basketball, the route as a person developing, is best served with us. And so I take great pride in that they're not chasing money. They realize the value of being where they are, of maybe taking less money, because in the end, they feel they'll be worth more, not only financially, but as a person. And so that gives me great pride.
Yeah. So I'm curious now, because it sounds like prior to 3 years ago, before the NIL days, players weren't making a ton of money. So you didn't really have the constraint of like, hey, let's teach players how to manage their money. So now that you got players coming in under your program, and some of them are making some pretty substantial money, I imagine a lot more money than they've ever seen before. What kind of things are you guys doing in your basketball program to kind of teach them on how to manage money, invest money, and that sort of thing?
Well, when we had our collective, the Mesa Foundation, we would actually have money withheld because we knew taxes were going to come due. Instead of giving a young guy all this money and they spend it all, well, now you owe taxes on that money because they're paying taxes on the money. And so we're trying to give them some financial literacy, show them that if they invest it, if they save some of it, it'll grow, telling them about taxes, what they're going to owe on the money they make. And so we have a responsibility to educate them too, not just give them money, but educate them on the how to take care of their money. And some of them, they're coming for families where the family needs help. So they're not spending it all on themselves. They're sending it back to their families and help giving that family a better quality of life.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I know in the NBA, there's a lot more education on how money works, especially with these newer players that come into the league. Because that's probably the last thing that you want is one of your players to come in and just blow all that money. Are you seeing a lot of these college basketball players now, like getting the nice Ferraris and Lamborghinis pulling up to practice now?
We got guys that spend their money on a car.
I love it. I love it.
If I was in college, guess what? I'd want to spend my money on a car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody likes a nice car. So we have guys that put money to a car. We have guys that put money into savings, and they're not throwing all that money on a car. And so everybody's different. Some of them are helping families back home.
Who's got the nicest car on the team right now? Which player?
It's an interesting question. Reese Waters has always had nice cars, even before NIL.
Okay.
BJ Davis has a nice car. Miles Bird has a nice car.
Okay.
They have nice cars.
What's the nicest car you've seen?
I like Bird's. He's got a BMW SUV, which I like. And BJ has a sportier car, Aztec red and black. And, so
I love it.
It is what it is.
We got to get some of these guys in Fastlane Drive. Have you heard of Fastlane Drive?
No.
So Fastlane Drive, I'm a member of. And the founder, Clem Connor, he's from France. He's been on my podcast a couple of times, but it's the largest exotic car club in the world. And it's basically a big networking opportunity for a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs that drive nice cars. As a baseline, you pretty much have to have like an Audi R8 or an exotic Lamborghini. A lot of people have Lambos, Ferraris, McLarens, even Bugattis in this club. But we do these rallies. So there's a big rally this weekend, this Saturday. And we'll drive all through the mountains for like 2-3 hours, and then they'll do a big yacht party afterwards. But it's a big networking thing. And now that some of your players are driving these nice cars, we got to get some of them in the club, man.
They're not cars like that. You're talking about investment cars that
Yes.
actually grow in value.
Yes.
When you have them. These things, trust me, when they drive these off the lot, the depreciation already started.
That's good stuff, man. Okay, so question for you. So we met at Barbusa, which, by the way, love Barbusa. Great Italian food here in the Little Italy neighborhood. And you were recruiting, okay? Talk about what it's like recruiting in the offseason today versus what it was prior to the NIL.
Recruiting is the sales part of the job. If I don't sell young men that they can become better basketball players, better students, better people with me, then they're going to go somewhere else. So sales is critical in any business. So that's my sales part. And so I love selling San Diego State. I love selling our staff, love selling our university. And so I take pleasure in doing that. I like to sell. My sales approach has changed over the years. When I started as a young assistant at South Dakota State in Michigan, I was in my 20s, early 30s, and I'm recruiting them like I'm a friend. Like we're talking about the same music and stuff like that. Then I got older. I got into my 40s and 50s. Now I'm talking like their father would to them, giving them fatherly advice, what their future holds. And now at 65, I'm talking like grandfather. But my sales approach has changed over the years, but it's always from the heart. It's always with their best interests and trying to show them that they can grow at San Diego State under our guidance.
Sure. And so I'm curious, like for you, what's the angle today? Because obviously you guys are an established men's college basketball program now. This wasn't the case prior to like 2010, I would say. But now you guys are established. I mean, in the tournament almost every single year, multiple runs of Sweet 16. You just went to the championship game a few years back. And so what is the angle today? We know that you're going to the Pac-12 here next season. But today and this season, you're in the Mountain West, a little bit less TV and like publicity in that regard in terms of the TV stuff and the media. What is your angle today?
When we first got here, Steve Fisher and I in 1999, I remember him saying vividly, we have to sell where we've been to start. We have to sell our time at Michigan.
Yes.
But if we're talking about Michigan 3 or 4 years from now, we haven't done anything here. And so now we're selling San Diego State. We're selling the fact that
best weather in the country.
Yeah, we've got more Mountain West titles than any other Mountain West team.
Sure.
We've been to multiple NCAA tournaments. We've played for a national championship. We've got players in the NBA because at the end of the day, they want a good education. They want to play for conference championships. They want to play in the NCAA tournament, and they want to know they can get to the NBA from your program. We have all those things now. They can get anywhere they want to go from our program. And so now it comes down to we're talking about money now. How much are you going to have to invest in a freshman? You're bidding against guys too. You're not only selling the journey, now there's a financial component. And so we tell them we have NIL. We have good NIL. We have good revenue sharing money. But I don't want to talk about that right now. Let's talk about fit. Let's talk about getting better. Let's talk about growing as a person. And if all those fit, now let's sit down and see how much NIL that will require for you to be here. But don't just, if they talk money to start, then they're not about the journey. And so that's why I think we've had such good programs. We get kids that are about the journey, and then we take care of them financially. We don't start off with financial. We don't go in there and say, here's the amount of money we have, we want you. We want a kid that's invested in this program like we're invested in them, and now we're going to try to make it financially rewarding for them to be here.
And at what year in high school are you starting to reach out to these players?
Sophomore year of high school, junior year.
Damn, sophomore. That's it. So they're only 15, 16.
Yeah, we're watching them. Yeah, we're watching
Wow.
them, and we're reaching out to them and contacting them, letting them know we're following their progress. But at the end of the day, it's like we're only going to end up taking 3 high school kids maybe.
Mm.
And so we had a list
Per season?
per season, maybe 2 or 3. Our program's built on our high school kids that stay 4 and 5 years, like Nate Mensah, 5 years, Aguakaro,
Malik
5
Pope.
years. Seiko, 6 years. All these guys, Lamont Butler stayed here 4 years. Keyshawn Johnson, 4 years. All these guys that played for the national championship. And then we'll go to the transfer portal for Jaden Ledee and a Matt Bradley to fill needs where we made you.
Matt Bradley was a stud.
Matt Bradley was on. Darian Trammell, he
Yeah.
started on that team.
Yeah.
We took guys outside the high school kids to fill gaps where we felt we had in our roster. So we're still a high school team. So we'll take 3 kids a year maybe at a high school, but we'll hold to the end to the transfer portal because that still opens every year. And we're looking for a more mature, grown kid that might be more immediately ready to play than a high school kid.
Mm. Is there, when you guys go and recruit high school players, is there any strategy behind if they're local here in San Diego County or Southern California versus out of state?
We could recruit the whole country, but for high school, I don't like doing that. We recruit the West Coast, California, Nevada, Arizona, Washington. We're recruiting the West Coast because this analogy and
I'm curious. I'm curious the reasons why.
Okay, so recruiting high school kids is like old school dating.
Sure.
Meet the parents, go there multiple times, build relationships, and it takes a lot of time to recruit a high school kid. A lot of energy to show them how important they are, and to think I'm going to fly to New York City 5, 6, 7, 8 times and build that relationship is unrealistic.
Sure.
The transfer portal's like Tinder. Swipe left or right, we're going to get it done in 1 week. That's portal.
Yeah.
You get a kid in a week. You get there, you get right in, they visit, and it's over. High school recruitment takes 2 and 3 years to build relationships.
A lot of touch points.
A lot of.
And so for a high recruit at a high school, you're flying to their hometown to go meet the parents and visit with them.
I'm going to leave tomorrow and drive up to L.A. and see a couple kids I'm recruiting for the 3rd and 4th time. Show them how important they are.
I love that.
But these they're getting recruited by everybody. I mean, there isn't the thing with recruiting. People don't understand it. They don't have a bad choice. Like, okay, I'm going to either go to UCLA, USC, San Diego State, Kansas. What bad choice is in there? There really isn't one. But the best fit might be different. Is that program the best fit for me right now? And it changes every year. If they have 2 or 3 guys back at your position, even though it's still UCLA, that might not be the best time for you to go there. Whereas San Diego State might have lost 2 or 3 players in your position. The timing's better at San Diego State right now. So it's not always the university, it's timing and fit. And that's any business, is the timing and fit working for you at the time you make your decision.
I love that. Well, if you ever want to use it as a recruiting tactic whenever you have some of these high recruits come through, welcome to take them out on my yacht.
We've taken them out before.
Okay.
So not on your
Not
yacht,
on
but
this
we've
one.
taken them. This city, come on.
Yeah.
This is America's finest city.
It
this
is.
is a place you can go play.
You got to sell the weather.
Yeah, you can go play. You can go have a pro career, whether it's in the NBA or Europe, but then you're going to come back to this city. Anybody we've ever had comes back to San Diego.
I know.
Whether it's to train in the summer. And the hard thing is it's so expensive to live here. But this city is magic. We all know that.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere for it to grow. We got Camp Pendleton to the north. We got the border to the south.
Yep.
We got the ocean to the west and the mountains to the east.
You're exactly right.
There's nowhere to go here. You better get in now and stay in or you're not going to last.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that you say that. I always talk about that. San Diego is like an island because of what you just mentioned. And as more people come, it's just going to push pricing up. Yeah.
Every day.
Every day.
Every
San
day.
Diego
And
real estate's on the rise, man.
It will never fall.
Yeah.
San Diego real estate will never fall.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious because, you've coached some amazing players. You're going back to the Fab 5 days with Jalen Rose, Chris Webber, and some of those guys. And then, back in 2011 with Kawhi Leonard. You had a lot of great players under your wing. Who's the best player you've ever coached?
You didn't mention him, but the best player I probably ever coached was my first year at the University of Michigan in 88-89. We won the national championship. Steve Fisher took over right before the NCAA tournament. We won 6 games in a row. and it was Glenn Rice.
Glenn Rice.
Glenn Rice is the all-time leading scorer still in the NCAA tournament history.
Three-point shooter.
Three-point shooter, played a long NBA career, including the Lakers.
Yep.
And
Charlotte
Glenn
Hornets.
Rice was probably the best player I ever coached.
Damn.
And then you talk the Fab Five, and you talk Weber, Rose, Howard, King, Jackson. What a great group that was. Played for two national championship games. Got beat by Duke, got beat by Carolina. And then other great players at Michigan. Then you come to San Diego State, and you get a Kawhi Leonard, who's arguably one of the top 15 to 20 players in the world still after a long career. And
even top 5. A lot of people say top 5 right now.
Two-time NBA MVP,
Mhm.
playoff MVP, two rings. I mean, the guy's a Hall of Fame player. And so we've had great players over the years, and we've had great teams over the years.
I'll never forget the 2020 season, which, by the way, I thought the 2020 season was the best San Diego State team I've seen. You guys started off the season undefeated. I believe you were 25-1 at one point. You ended the season 30-2, and then and you guys were ranked top 5, and you had number 1 seed all over San Diego State at that time. But I'll never forget it. It was one of the games. I forget who you guys played, but the Clippers had a game that afternoon up in LA, and then they flew the entire team down. And it was the night you retired Kawhi Leonard's jersey. Doc Rivers showed up. The entire Clippers roster, Chris Paul, everyone was there. I'm sorry, Chris Paul was not there. He was traded at that point. But to my point, that was so cool to see the LA Clippers come onto the court at Viejas when you guys retired Kawhi's jersey that night.
Yeah, that was a magical night. And Steve Ballmer was there, obviously the owner, and he talked about, to this day, when they did Intuit, they built the side, crazy side of their stadium vertically and on top of each other, because he had that feel at Viejas. When he saw that game, the wall was somewhat modeled after Viejas Arena and the enthusiasm in that student section.
Yeah, and for the listeners that haven't been to a game at Viejas, they got a student section that's called The Show. And, man, it's ruckus. It's loud. The energy in the arena is amazing. And I love going to the games. They're so much fun to go to for those reasons. But back to that 2020 season, I thought that was the best team that you guys had. Maybe not in terms of like individual talent, but that was like the best team all around that I saw. And that had Final Four written all over it. And then COVID happened, and you guys didn't have a tournament.
Yeah, that was the saddest thing ever.
What did you tell the players?
To have that group. How bad I felt for them.
Yeah.
You know, that I felt awful for them, like a guy like Malachi Flynn,
baller,
who ended up being a first-round draft pick, never played in the NCAA tournament in his career. He was at Washington State, came to us and had that year. KJ Fagan, never played in the NCAA tournament. Yanni Wetzel, never played in the NCAA tournament. And here's a group that came together for a magical season and is finally going to get on the biggest stage to play in March, and then to have it canceled was heartbreaking for them.
Do you think you would have had the 1 seed that year?
I think we'd have been a 1 seed at 30-2, whatever we were. I think we'd have been a 1 seed, and we've had teams that have been capable of winning a national title. The Kawhi Leonard team with Malcolm Thomas and Billy White, DJ Gay.
That was a scrappy team.
We got beat by Kemba Walker, and they won the title.
Yeah.
Yukon won the title that year.
Yeah.
Then the Malachi Flynn, Matt Bradley, Jordan Shackle, that team was Yanni Wetzel, KJ. That team was good enough to win a national title. We didn't get a play.
And 2014, don't forget that. You guys went to Sweet 16. 2014, you guys lost to Arizona that year. Arizona went to the Final Four. 64-70, and that was when you guys played Arizona in Anaheim.
Yep, with X Thames and that group.
And you had a hell of a San Diego State crowd up there for the Anaheim game.
I mean, if you're an Aztec basketball fan, what a magical run this has been over the last 26 years. When Steve Fisher came over and resurrected this program, and I just been fortunate and blessed to be able to take over something that I helped build with him all those years ago, and we continue to press forward. Like I said, the bar is high.
Yeah.
Now the bar is
now you got
all the way to the Final Four. That's the bar. The bar is whatever your highest accomplishment is, and that's the bar. And so do you reach the bar? Not always, but that has to be the goal That has to be the mission.
Hey guys, if you're looking to get into real estate investing, but you're like, hey, I don't have the time, but you want to participate in the passive income, the tax benefits, and the wealth building, my company, Summers Capital, partners with limited partners, people like yourself, and we go out and buy boutique hotels. We have a fund where we currently own 5 hotels, and we currently have a wait list for investors to participate with us. If you want to learn more to see if this is a fit for you, you can go to summerscapital.com/invest to inquire and get on our wait list and be notified next time we have an opportunity. Again, summerscapital.com/invest. Now back to the show. What was it like arriving in San Diego State? Because we know what San Diego State's like today. You guys are nationally known. You guys are a powerhouse basketball program. And everyone in the country knows San Diego State basketball is always ranked in the top 25. And you guys are always making a run. But you mentioned when you showed up with Steve Fisher back in, what year was it when you guys arrived?
99.
In 99, it was not the case. You guys would have to give away tickets, I've heard, for people to show up to the games. What was that like arriving back then?
Well, we did such a good job. The year before we got there, they won 4 games. Our first year, we won 5 games.
Damn.
Come on, that's not very good. We knew it was going to be a build, and we built it.
Was Viejas Arena already built?
Viejas was only a year or 2 old.
Okay.
And that was the thing. Now we had a facility to recruit to.
Sure.
That's an unbelievable arena and one of the best environments in college basketball. In the West Coast, Gonzaga, Arizona, and San Diego State have the best environments to play basketball in. But I'd like to think that our growth as a basketball program and the growth of the university almost ran parallel, because San Diego State back then was kind of a fallback school. It had a reputation of a party school. And now you can't get into San Diego State. The academic reputation, much like the basketball program, is at the highest of high levels. I think we had 123,000 applicants last year for 6,800 freshman spots.
That's crazy.
And then I think we took 4,000 transfers. But the school is desired. We're a R1 research institution now. And so the education you get at San Diego State is second to none. And the athletic experience that we're providing our athletes and our students to be a part of is second to none.
That's so good. That's so good. So you guys come in, you guys build it up, and I believe it was the 2010-2011 season with Kawhi where that was where you guys really made your scene. It was like your come out year. I felt that. And there was a game at home against BYU, and I don't think I've ever heard Viejas that loud ever. It was that BYU game at home in 2011, and it was just insane. The show was crazy. And man, since then, I think it's really set the stage for you guys.
Yeah, they were lined up around the rec center to get into the game. I'd never seen a line like that. And I spoke to a board of governors or something at the Parma Payne Goodall Center, and some people weren't happy that the kids were missing class to wait in line. They missed a day or 2 of class. And I just told them, I said, we value education. Education is everything. But they're going to remember waiting in line for this game for the rest of their lives. On top of the education, this is an experience that they will always remember. And so we're providing experiences for our student athletes.
How does it work for the students that want to come to a game? Do they have to get on a wait list if they want to sit in the student section? How does that work?
I think they go online now and reserve their seats on their phones. It used to be you have to wait online for a physical ticket. Now I think you sign in for your tickets in advance, I think week of the game. And then I think it's rush seating in the student section. I don't think first come, first serve. If you're there early, you get the lower rolls all the way to the top. And so we're sold out, obviously, season ticket wise again, and have been. I always say, you don't have to be a basketball fan to like a San Diego State basketball game. The band, the cheer squad, the dance team, the concessions, just the environment. People fall in love with it. People used to come to games and used to tell me, I was never a big basketball fan, but I started coming and I fell in love with the environment, and then I fell in love with basketball. So we're providing, and like I said, we're not San Diego State's team. We're San Diego's team. I always say we're the second pro team of San Diego.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have the Padres and you have San Diego State. Basketball, football, whatever it is, we're the second pro option, in my opinion.
No, I 100% agree, because think about it. The San Diego Chargers left town in 2017. Dean Spanos is the owner. The city wanted a new stadium, and Dean Spanos didn't want to back it. NFL Roger Goodell even offered to contribute $350 million to a new stadium. And I remember it went to a vote here in San Diego, and it was denied. They wanted the taxpayers in San Diego to fund the stadium. And to be honest with you, I mean, as a business owner, I don't think the locals should fund stuff like that. I think if you're a franchise owner, you should have the pockets like Steve Ballmer did with the LA Clippers. He built them a new arena up there in Inglewood,
Or the Rams, new stadium.
or the
yeah.
Rams, right? So if you're gonna own a professional franchise, I think you should fund that with your own money. That's how I feel. But anyway, so taxpayers in San Diego, the vote did not pass. The San Diego Chargers went up and became the LA Chargers, and then we got the San Diego Padres down here. It's baseball, but we have no NBA team, we have no NHL team, and you
Now
guys,
we've got soccer though with
we have soccer, which is cool.
SDFC and the Wave.
Totally, which is
That's
cool.
a great addition.
Which I think
to
is
the
cool.
city.
Yeah, very, very cool thing. But I agree with you. Like San Diego State basketball, it's right there, 1A, 1B with the San Diego Padres. And basketball, to me, if you're a casual sports fan, I think basketball is the most exciting sport to watch. Baseball is a little slow. It's fun to go to the games. But basketball moves quick, man. A lot of action and a lot of pace up and down the court.
Yeah, it's not an NBA season. You're not getting 50 home games. You're getting 14, 16, 17 home games. And that's not a whole lot. And so it's investment to come, but they fill the building for us, and it makes a huge difference in the success we have.
They do. And you could also argue that basketball, I'm pretty sure it's a known thing because basketball is like the most brandable sport out of all the major sports because players aren't wearing helmets. They aren't wearing all this padding. And so it's very brandable. And there's a reason why you go to like China, overseas, a lot of these countries overseas, basketball is hands down, such an NBA is hands down the most popular sport.
Yep. Internationally, it's obviously soccer and basketball. And like I said, in basketball, they can put a face to a name. We tell our guys every time they walk on the Viejas floor that they're a walking resume. How they conduct themselves in front of these fans, in front of these business owners, will serve them well in the future. So you are walking on the floor as your own resume. Act the right way, play the right way, show them what you're about, and that will lead to success after basketball when the ball starts bouncing.
One of the things I love about going to San Diego State basketball games, and I encourage anyone listening to this to definitely check this out, but you guys have the players' locker room, and you allow fans to go to the concession bar kind of near the locker room. So when you guys come out of the tunnel, whether it's pregame or during warmups or even during halftime, you can hang out there as a fan at the concession stand and see the players run just past you.
You can see them run right
which is
by
so
you.
cool.
Yep.
So
and we have
cool.
guys, I mean, I don't know if they should be doing every game. We have guys that when the game's over, for young kids there, they might give them their tennis shoes from the game. You know, we have good kids on this team.
Yeah, I
that
love
are
that.
about the right things, and that's a credit to their families. When I recruit them, I tell them, I'll promise you one thing. I'll keep your son on the path you put him on. And we recruit kids from good families that are about the right things, that are on the right path. I just have to keep them on that path.
Yep, that's so good. And one of the things I like about, we were talking about Intuit arena up there in Inglewood with Steve Ballmer, built them that arena. I did go for the first time last year, and that is a hell of arena for watching NBA games. I'm a big Clipper fan, and then my family likes the Lakers. But I went to a game and took my parents. My parents are 82 and 81, and it's so cool because courtside they have 3 rows courtside. And so the second and third row of courtside is elevated. So you could be in the second or third row of courtside, but you're like right on top of the court. And just the viewing angles of that arena is so cool. And then pregame and during halftime, there's a restaurant in the tunnel, and they do like buffet and all that sort of thing. And then the players walk right through the restaurant, which is so cool, similar to what you guys have at Viejas. But it's cool to see the technology and the way that these arenas are evolving over the years. I went to Staples Center after Intuit to go catch a Laker game. And, like Staples Center 1999 construction, you can tell the difference. It's from a fan perspective, it's not the same as the modern arenas today.
No question. And a shout out to John David Wicker for getting Snapdragon Stadium built. You know, to build a football stadium on time, under budget, for San Diego State football, the Wave, SDFC to play in. If you haven't been there, that's a fantastic venue. And I would encourage you to get out there to see Aztec football. And I've always wanted to just go up and sit on the top of the pier and watch a game from up there on that corner of the pier. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. I'm usually too busy, but that stadium is fantastic. And if you haven't been there, you should go out to a game.
I got to get out to a game. I got to admit, Coach Dutch, I have not been to a soccer game here yet. One of my good friends, podcast guest of mine recently, Robert Laird, he owns Dios Azul. And Dios Azul is like the tequila for all the Snapdragon Stadium. They got their own like bar and lounge over there, but he's got a box suite. He's invited me, and I got to take him up to go to a game.
You got to go out there. It is a great venue.
Is their season still going?
SDFC is about to start the playoffs.
Really? Okay.
Before too long. And obviously, hashtag football is just getting started. I think we have a game against Cal this week.
Okay.
And so lots of good stuff going on at Snapdragon.
I got to get out to Snapdragon now. We get the playoffs starting. I'm curious for you, man. When you have all these recruits come out through high school and then even these transfers, I mean, we mentioned Malachi Flynn. He was a transfer from Washington State, came in and just absolutely killed it. And you guys do a really good job of securing transfers. How do you do such a good job of securing these highly sought after transfers?
Just to make sure they're about the same things we are. Sometimes you can fall in love with talent and it's not a good fit because the attitude's not what you need to win in your program. So the thing I want to hear about it from a transfer is I'm coming to win. You know, a lot of them like Malachi never won at the level he wanted to win at. You know, KJ Fagan, when he left Santa Clara, didn't win at the level he wanted to win at. And winning has to be one of the main reasons they're coming to us. I want to win. I want to get better. I don't want to hear from a recruit that I want to come in. I average 18 a game. I'm going to come with you. I'm going to be so good I'm going to average 28. Now, that's a goal I'd like them to have in their mind, but I want them to come in order to win basketball games, to play in the NCAA tournament, and to get better. And if they're about those things, then they're welcome in our program.
Yeah. You guys are known nationally for your defense and really having lockdown defense, rebounding the ball, protecting the boards. How do you get your guys to play such lockdown defense every single season?
You have to tell them before they get here. That's our culture. Like, you tell them when you're recruiting them, if you don't want to play defense, this is not the program for you. If you want to defend at a high level, then this is the program for you. And if you defend at a high level, I'll let you play with great freedom offensively. And I always tell the recruits, and this is no secret, offense is like poetry. Everybody interprets it different. You know, I'll sit with my coaching staff, and a guy will take a shot, and one of my coaches will think it's an awful shot, and one guy will think it's an okay shot, and one guy think it's a good shot, and one guy think it's a great shot. It's the same shot, but it's like poetry. It's all open to interpretation. Defense is black and white. You're either in the right position, you're closing out, you're doing the right things, you're where you're supposed to be. And so there are nights when the ball doesn't go in offensively. You can be wide open. It's just not going in. We're one of the few programs in the country that are going to win those nights because our defense is going to win us the game those nights. And then the nights when the offense is going good and the defense is playing like it should, we're going to win by 15 or 20 points.
There was a, speaking of defense, there's a game. I'm going to take you back in time a little bit. It's 2014 at home. I believe it was the second to last regular season game, and it was you guys and it was New Mexico. And you guys were both ranked top 25 that season, and you guys were like number 1 and 2. And it was playing for the number 1 seed for the Mountain West tournament. And you guys were down double digits in the second half with about 4 to 5 minutes left. I believe you're down like 13 points. And it was one of those nights where the ball just wasn't going in the bucket. And you guys switched to a 1-3-1 zone. And you guys, I don't think New Mexico scored more than 2 or 3 points the rest of the night. And you guys had this amazing comeback. Reggie Miller was broadcasting the game on CBS Sports. And it was absolutely insane. The freaking energy, Viejas was lit. You guys came back from 13 down with 4 minutes left. You guys won that game to take the Mountain West Championship. What are you guys telling your team in that situation where you're down double digits with 4 or 5 minutes left?
One of the greatest games I've ever been a part of. It can't happen. It shouldn't happen, but it happened. And late in the game, Steve Fisher, we had worked randomly on a 1-3-1. We hadn't invested a lot of time in it. And none of the assistants suggested it. He just came to the timeout and he said, we're going to play the 1-3-1. Because he just sensed we weren't getting stops. We couldn't stop a man-to-man. And he said, we're going to the 1-3-1. And that's a credit to Steve. And we played it. We had an incredible comeback. The building was electric.
Insane.
And I still remember watching the highlight of Reggie Miller saying, this is going to be my first court storming.
Yes.
And we stormed the court and won the Mountain West regular season title. Magical moment. Anybody that was there will always remember that game.
Yeah. I believe you guys had Xavier Thames that year. He was the Mountain West Player of the Year. Malachi Flynn in 2020. But yeah, that was a crazy game. What is the theory with the 1-3-1? What's the strategy there?
It's like anything else. It's a change of pace. Teams get comfortable going against your man sometimes. They're just in a rhythm. You can't disrupt the rhythm. So you either have to change how you're playing the man, or you have to just throw a zone out there to disrupt their timing. Sometimes people zone for a play or two or three, and then they go back to their man, but it's messed up the timing of what the other team was doing. We went to the zone, and we stayed in the zone because they struggled down the stretch against it. And it just worked out in that game that Dwayne Poley up at the top of it with length deflecting balls, Matt Shrigley, J.J. O'Brien, Skylar Spencer. I mean, we've had some magical players come through this program, and that was a magical win. And maybe the best win, with the exception of the Florida Atlantic game where
Yes.
Lamont Butler.
So, speaking of that game, you guys are playing in the Final Four game. This is back in 3 seasons ago now, Florida Atlantic. And you guys are down by 1, and you guys board the ball. You had a timeout. You did not call a timeout. Lamont Butler dribbles down the court, and goes baseline, fade away, about 16-footer, drills the shot. At the buzzer, you guys take a 1-point lead to win the game, to go to the championship game. The crowd is going nuts, and that was what, 60,000 fans right there in person, and millions watching around the world on TV. What led to the decision to not call a timeout in that situation?
Well, first of all, had we lost the game, I'd never hear the end of it not taking that
Yeah.
timeout. But sometimes as a coach, you got to defer to your players. I had taken a timeout like a minute and a half to go in the game to try to run a sideline out of bounds to get a 3, and a play we had never run. So I knew they hadn't seen it, and they defended it. And we did not get a 3. We had to throw the ball to Ledee at the elbow. We went one-on-one and hit a huge basket one-on-one. And so that was in my mind, like we had just run a play we had never run before, and they stopped it. So I just decided, I told the guys, we are not taking a timeout. You know, we're just going to go in a broken floor. We didn't have shooters on the floor. We had Parrish on the floor, who was a shooter. We had Keshad, AG, and Nate Mensah, 3 of our best defenders, because we had to get a stop in order to get the ball. And so once we rebounded it, I said, get it to Lamont. Lamont, either get to the layup, get in there, get to the rim and finish. If you can't, find Micah for a 3, and the rest of you guys go rebound the ball.
And
go get a putback.
you told them all this with a minute and a half to go?
No, I told them this with maybe 40-some seconds
Got
ago.
it. Okay.
Because we knew I think they thought we were going to foul. They thought the time was such we would foul. We didn't foul, so they drove across midcourt, took their timeout, and then they got it in. There was going to be a 6 seconds difference. By the time they shot it, I think we had 6 seconds.
And so during their timeout, you ran at the
Again,
players
said
through
we
this.
are
You
not
said, "We're
gonna
call
take timeout.
We're gonna run it. Okay.
We're going to go. We're going to go
Yeah.
with it, get downhill, get to the rim, Lamont.
I love that.
And I told him that earlier in the year, and he hit a pull-up 3 at New Mexico to win a game. And players know their game.
Yeah.
And so he was on a little bit of a rhythm. And so he tried to get to the rim. They cut him off. He backed it out, and he had a jump shot that is the only shot in NCAA Final Four history to win a game when you were down. There have been buzzer beaters, but the game has been tied. That was the only shot in Final Four history when a team was down to win a game at the buzzer.
It was
a magical moment.
I'll never forget that shot, and I'm sure you're aware of this, but I just want to break it down for you. You know, I lived in Little Italy for 8 years, and I was at Nolita Hall, but every single restaurant and bar on India Street was completely packed, and I've never seen anything like it. Like, Nolita Hall was completely packed, shoulder to shoulder. And when that shot went down, I mean, it was insane. People were jumping up and down on tables. Like, it was crazy. I've never seen anything like it. But that was an amazing shot. I'm curious because, you know, I think people listen to this like, okay, if you're a casual fan, you're watching pro sports, you're watching college sports, you know, it's one thing to watch on TV, but to be on the court coaching or playing as a player with that many people watching, that many eyeballs on you, there's a certain level of pressure that comes with it. When you guys are on this national stage, you know, Final Four, what does that feel like for these players walking on the court? And what do you tell the players that are maybe just to calm their nerves a little bit?
I had been fortunate enough to be to 3 national championship games as an assistant at Michigan. with Steve Fisher, so I kind of knew what to expect. And I told him, we're just going to have fun with we're going to have fun when we get there. When it's time to work, we're going to work. When it's time to practice, we're going to practice. When it's time to watch film, we're going to concentrate like crazy. But in the other moments with family, enjoy this. I made the mistake of saying it's a once in a lifetime. Now I'm saying it's a first in a lifetime experience because we're going to go back. But enjoy this. Enjoy every minute of it. And the message I delivered through the whole run was, we have a really good basketball team. We don't have to do anything special to win a title. We just have to be ourselves, play at the highest level, play to your capabilities. That's all we have to do. So we never felt like we had to play above who we were to win a game. And that Alabama game they were the number one seed in the whole tournament. And to beat them in the regional, and then we lost to Yukon finally, and obviously they won back-to-back titles. And I said after that game, we have to tip our hat to Yukon. They were the better team tonight.
What's up with you guys in Yukon? Because 2011, you guys faced them in the Sweet 16. You guys faced them in the 2023 National Championship game, and then again the next season, 2024 in the Sweet 16. You guys got something going on with Yukon. What's up with that?
We owe Yukon. We are 0-3 against Yukon in those tournament games.
Yeah.
And obviously they won the title twice.
Will you guys set up like a preseason match with them? Have you guys ever talked about doing that?
We wouldn't be opposed to it. It'd probably be in one of these neutral events, like in Hawaii. We're playing the Players Era event in Vegas again this year. They're not in it, but we're playing Michigan. We're playing Oregon, and then we'll play a third really good team. We're playing Arizona in Phoenix this year. So we don't shy away from competition. So if we ever had a chance to play Yukon in a regular season game, we would do it.
Yeah. I'm curious for you. So you guys have all these high school recruits come up, and we talked about some of them, but, like Malik Pope coming out of Stockton, Trey Kale coming up. Those guys were both highly sought after. And then you got someone like Kawhi Leonard coming out. And so some of these guys, they come into college basketball, as a freshman, sophomore, and some of them get to the next level and really, really thrive, and some of them not so much. And I'm curious, what separates the Kawhi Leonards and the guys that make it to the next level and really, really thrive versus the ones that come in and have a good college career but aren't drafted and highly sought after? What separates those two players?
Yeah, I thought Malik Pope was good enough to play in the NBA, but injuries derailed him. I mean, he broke his leg twice before he even got to college. And so that wear and tear eventually caught up with him. Trey Kell's had a magnificent pro career. I think he was MVP in Australia last year. He's playing in Japan.
Sure, stud.
This coming season.
Stud.
So, yeah, great year. But sometimes it's just some measurables. We've had these NBA teams do training camp at our practice facility, the Jam Center on campus, and you watch these NBA players come in, and on TV, they look like just big guys, normal size. When you see an NBA player, these guys are supersized. I mean, Kawhi Leonard is supersized. His hands, his shoulders, his length. So sometimes you think they're just normal guys playing in the NBA because they worked harder. These guys are massive human beings. And the thing is, they look normal sized on TV. They don't look like they're super long athletic. They just look like normal guys. But when you stand next to them, you're like, this normal guy is not normal. He's like twice my size.
For sure.
And so the NBA is like a level beyond what you can even imagine.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so talk about this season. Give us a preview of what's going on this season. I saw the preseason rankings, and you guys are kind of fringe top 25 going in. You had a couple big recruits. Who are the key additions this season?
Well, we returned every underclassman that could come back came back, which is a great start. Because
that's huge.
With the era of the transfer portal, to have your team come back is almost unheard of. And we had more players come back than any team in the country. So we have some experience coming back. Obviously, we had two guys that were capable of maybe going in the draft. They didn't go. Miles Bird was probably going to be a late second-round pick, middle second-round pick. He decided to come back. Magoon Gwath hurt his knee at the end of the year. He'll be healthy this year, but he's a potential NBA player, so you start there.
And what positions will both of those guys start this year?
Bird is like a wing, a two-guard, a small forward.
2-3.
Gwath is like a power forward, a stretch four.
Okay.
And I think they're both capable of playing in the NBA someday. Then when you return guys like Miles Heide, junior year, B.J. Davis, who started every game last year, junior year, you get some older guys that have been in the program. Then you have returners that were freshmen last year, like Taj DeGorville, Farrell Compton. You get guys like that have been in the program that are coming back for a return year. Reese Waters, who was our only first-team preseason all-conference player, broke his foot, so he's coming back for a 5th year. So we have a lot of really good returning players coming back to this year's team. Then we added freshmen, LZ Harrington, Tay Simmons, that are very good incoming freshmen, transfers. Sean Newman, who was 3rd in the country in assists last year, is coming in. Jeremiah Oden.
Will Sean Newman start at the 1 this year?
We'll see. We have tremendous competition at every position.
He'll compete for that position, though, right?
They'll all be fighting. The thing is with our recruiting, we don't promise them starting spots. Some people promise starting spots to everybody that comes in, and then their relationship is based on, well, only 5 of them start. The 6 that they promise they're going to start aren't starting, and your relationship is starting with a lie. So we don't promise that. We promise opportunity, and if you're playing well enough, you'll have an opportunity to start.
Healthy competition's a good thing.
It's everything.
Yeah.
You have to compete every day.
Yeah.
And if you believe in competition, if you believe that if I play well, I practice well, I can start, then you're going to work harder. And that's how our program is based.
So what kind of team are we going to see this season? Is it going to be fast-paced? Are we going to see a lot of three-pointers? What kind of team are we going to see offensively?
I always say to start every year, I think there's 360-some Division I teams. Everybody says they're going to play faster.
Yeah.
Only a handful do. So we're trying to play faster. We're putting an emphasis on it, trying to get up and down the floor because we have great depth. We have depth in order to play that way. We're going to defend at a high level. That's the basis of our program. We defend and rebound. We weren't a great rebounding team last year. We're trying to be better this year. So defend and rebound, and then we're going to play with great confidence at the offensive end.
What else leads you when you're looking at your team offensively to say, okay, we're gonna increase the pace this year? Is it just having a deep bench, or is it more things like, hey, we have a lot of athletes on the team this year?
We have great talent. We have a lot of talent. And like I said, if you look on paper, you're going to say, boy, this is one of the best teams they ever had. But I say we don't play on paper, we play on the court. So it's up to me now and the assistant coaches to make this group of talent into a team. And that's what drives us. You know, went in and talk about Latrell Davis from San Jose who transferred in. I just mentioned Jeremiah Odom. We have a lot of pieces. Thockbor, redshirted last year. He's eligible. So we have a deep, deep, talented team this year. Now we have to see if we can make it into a winning team.
Will you have potentially a 10-man rotation every game?
It could be as deep as 10.
Damn.
Usually 9 is more of a reasonable number.
Yeah.
But in order to play that way, we have to play at a level where we're running, we're guarding full court, where we're going to wear our opposition down. And I'd like to do that because we have the talent to do that.
Yep. Who will be your number one competitor in the Mountain West this season?
It's interesting. I think Grand Canyon, who's going to be in the league for the first time this year, I think they did a good job recruiting. They have an environment that is electric over there in Phoenix. They'll be good. Obviously, Boise will be good again. Utah State has been good. The Mountain West is always difficult. And there's always teams where, with the transfer portal, there'll be someone that's not expected to be good that'll rise up and be better than we think.
You guys have a big exhibition game against UCLA here at Viejas Arena. And UCLA is supposed to be pretty damn good this year. I saw some of the preseason rankings, top 10-ish.
Yes.
That will be a good gauge to see where you guys are. I'll definitely be at that game. What's another game non-conference this year that you're like, hey, this is the game that we gotta show up for?
Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of them at home because no one wants to come to Viejas and play. They'll play us on a neutral court.
Why is that?
Just because it's a hard place to win.
Yes. Okay.
And people like, well, I wish we had a better home. I mean, Gonzaga came and plays at home last year. We've had teams come in. UCLA's played us at home, but it depends on the year. I try to play anybody in the country in a home and home at our place. So the fans have to realize that our schedule's based on who will play us, because I'll play anybody. Neutral games, obviously the Michigan game's going to be big. Oregon in a neutral game.
Where's the Michigan game going to be?
It's going to be in Vegas.
Ooh, I might have to come out for that.
Event. Yeah, it's Michigan, the next day Oregon, and then the third team will be great. That NIL event is March Madness in November. Kansas is in it. Auburn, Alabama.
That's going to be a big
Gonzaga.
one. Damn.
It's going to be a monster event.
Yeah.
So if you're a college basketball fan, that's the one to go to.
So you guys potentially could play 3 ranked opponents in that Vegas tournament.
We absolutely could. And that's one of the reasons we made the NCAA tournament last year, because we beat Houston, who only lost 4 or 5 games all year. We beat them in that event last year, and we beat Creighton in that event. And so those 2 non-conference wins propelled us into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. With the out-of-conference schedule, who negotiates these games? Because you mentioned, like, you try to get these bigger teams to come into Viejas, and you're always down for a home and home. Who negotiates this? Does it come down to the head coaches, or who has the final call there?
Matt Soria is our ops guy. He reaches out and tries to set a schedule all year for years in advance. If he feels I need to make a call, and I'm friends with a lot of these guys, and they just tell me, I'm not going to play you this year. Maybe a year from now we'll play you. It all depends on timing, too, if they think they're going to be good, if they want to be challenged. But some of these leagues they play in, they just think if we have a good a record in our own league, we're going to make the NCAA tournament. I have to be more aggressive than that. I can't go in and saying just winning in the Mountain West is going to be enough to put us in the NCAA tournament. So I have to schedule aggressively outside of that. So I'm not looking to duck anybody who wants to play.
Yep. Okay, last question for you. For someone listening to this or watching this right now, what's one thing that you would like the world to know about San Diego State basketball this season?
That we're going to be a connected group. We're going to work hard to make our families, our university, and our city proud of us.
I love it. Coach Dutch, I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm so excited for this season. And more importantly, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, man. I'm a big fan of everything that you guys are doing, and I can't wait to see you guys play this year, make a good run. So, Coach Dutch, appreciate you coming on. He's Coach Brian Dutcher. I'm Rich Summers. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.